Fall 2020 Special Town Meeting, Article 17, Tree Protection and Preservation. Trees are critical infrastructure and essential to Wellesley's character. But our trees lend so much more than beauty to our town. Trees improve air quality, protect from glare and heat, reduce noise, provide flood and drainage control, stabilize soil, create wildlife habitats, and reduce ambient carbon in the atmosphere. In recognition of the importance of Wellesley's trees, in 2011, town meeting passed the Tree Bylaw. Through Article 17, the Planning Board and the Natural Resources Commission seek to build upon the successes of the Tree Bylaw and address the areas that need improvement. Specifically, Article 17 seeks to make selected changes to Zoning Bylaw Section 16E, Tree Protection and Preservation, to increase the number of protected trees, enhance protection of retained trees, and improve mitigation for removed trees. The intent of Wellesley's Tree Bylaw is to encourage the preservation and protection of sizable trees on portions of private property during significant demolition or construction activity. The Tree Bylaw is intended to strike a balance between public interest and property rights. So while property owners may remove trees protected by the Tree Bylaw, they must mitigate the loss of these trees by planting new trees or contributing to the Tree Bank Fund. When does the Tree Bylaw apply? We want to emphasize that the Tree Bylaw applies in only limited situations. Specifically, the Tree Bylaw applies in the following situations: demolitions, construction of a building or structure, construction that increases the footprint of a building or structure by 50% or more, and construction of certain retaining walls. What the Tree Bylaw does not do. The Tree Bylaw does not prohibit the removal of any tree. Property owners may remove trees protected under the Tree Bylaw as long as they mitigate for the removal of these trees through planting new trees or contributing to the Tree Bank Fund. Again, this is the balance of the public interest and private rights. What does the Tree Bylaw do? While the Tree Bylaw does not prohibit removal of trees, it requires the protection of trees that are 10 inches or greater in diameter, that are located in the tree yard during significant construction and demolition activity. It requires that trees that remain during construction and demolition are protected according to a tree protection and mitigation plan that must be in place prior to receipt of a building or demolition permit. And it requires mitigation if a protected tree is removed. Mitigation takes the form of either planting new trees or payment into the Wellesley Tree Bank Fund. What is the tree yard, or where does the Tree Bylaw apply? In residential districts, only trees that are located in the tree yard are protected under the Tree Bylaw. The tree yard is very similar to building setbacks, but it is a bit smaller and varies in size, depending on the residential district. The tree yard here is shown as the green frame surrounding the building envelope in blue. The building setback includes both the green and the white areas. In non-residential districts, such as commercial districts, the Tree Bylaw applies to the entire property. Why amend the Tree Bylaw? Even with the protections of the Tree Bylaw, there has been an outcry from residents that too many trees are being removed during construction and demolition. Between 2011 and 2017, 33% of trees protected under the bylaw were removed. Only 15% of total tree diameter lost was replanted. Approximately 1,000 trees were removed with no mitigation. The Planning Board and the NRC agree with residents that too many trees are being cut down and not mitigated. Through Article 17, we seek to address these concerns by first, increasing the size of replacement trees, second, increasing the ratio of replacement trees to trees removed, third, increasing the safeguards for protected trees during construction and demolition, and fourth, increasing the number of trees protected under the tree bylaw. Increasing the size of replacement trees. Tree replacement is one of the two ways to mitigate the loss of a protected tree. Currently, the bylaw provides that a new tree must have a diameter of 2 inches. We propose that the minimum be 3 inches to increase the likelihood that the tree will survive to maturity. Increasing the ratio for tree replacement. Currently under the bylaw, the replacement ratio is 1 to 0.5. That is, for each 1 inch of tree diameter removed, half an inch replacement is allowed. We propose to make the ratio 1 to 1, thereby helping to achieve a balance between trees lost and trees replaced. Increasing safeguards during construction. Under the bylaw, trees that remain must be protected during construction and demolition. Currently, plastic tape and plastic snow fence are the most commonly used methods of protection. There is a high failure rate of the current practices. Fences are flimsy and fall over or get knocked over. Eventually, heavy equipment, stockpiling, and other construction activities find their way to the protected trees' critical root zone. This can compromise tree health by compacting soil, damaging roots, breaking branches, and scarring trunks. The amended bylaw requires that chain link fences will be used to delineate the tree-safe area. Protect more trees. The bylaw currently applies to trees 10 inches or more in diameter. The proposed amendment would bring trees of 6 inches in diameter within the tree bylaw protections. Not only will this result in protection of more trees, of many varieties, it will capture important understory trees, such as the American dogwood shown here. Mitigation exemption for hazardous trees. Currently, there are exceptions as to what constitutes a protected tree. Such trees are exempted from protection under the tree bylaw, no matter what their size. These trees may be removed with no mitigation, that is, no tree replacement and no contribution to the tree bank fund. This exemption is commonly known as the, quote, hazardous tree exemption, unquote. Why is this a problem? Hazardous in the bylaw is undefined and therefore subject to a wide range of interpretation. Not surprisingly, this exemption is widely used, we believe overused, in the construction and demolition context, because exempted trees are neither protected nor is their loss mitigated. Approximately a third of trees from tree yards are removed during construction and demolition. Of that amount, almost 2/3 are removed under the, quote, hazardous tree exemption, unquote, and not mitigated. So there is a financial incentive to claim a tree as hazardous, and thus exempt from the tree bylaw, because such trees can be removed with no required mitigation. Article 17 proposes to remove the mitigation exemption for hazardous trees. Amendment of the bylaw will remove highly subjective judgments on whether a tree is, quote, hazardous, unquote. Requiring mitigation for the removal of such trees furthers the intent of the tree bylaw to protect trees, because trees, even if not in perfect health, still serve important functions. Such trees contribute to the tree canopy, thereby improving air quality, protecting from glare and heat, reducing noise, providing flood and drainage control, and stabilizing soil. These trees often provide critical habitat and serve as sources of food for wildlife. If such trees are removed, which is still allowed under the bylaw, there should be mitigation for their loss. We note that we would leave in place the exemption for, quote, emergency projects necessary for public safety, health, and welfare, unquote, for which no mitigation is required. Article 17 contains additional provisions for improvement of the tree bylaw, including improving the structure and readability of the section, conforming the bylaw to the establishment of the tree bank fund in the town revolving fund bylaw, and enabling future consideration of factors in addition to tree diameter in setting contributions to the tree bank fund, such as environmental benefits and impact on town infrastructure. We note that any changes to the level of contributions would have to be made through regulations adopted by the Select Board. This concludes the presentation on Article 17, Amendments to the Tree Bylaw. Thank you very much for your consideration.